All right, Bob Murphy here. I'm doing 3 intro videos. This is the second one, exponent review, and the third one will be, it's backwards. Oh, using a calculator for these problems. Well, my handwriting sucks. I thought Ms. Girton would be unhappy. All right, anyway, so now in doing the last video, I realized I should give a little more flesh to a reviewing exponents for people that are really rusty. And remember, you're some hot shot and you're going to go to the University of Chicago and get a master's degree in finance. You're not watching these videos, I don't think. This is just normal people. Maybe you haven't seen exponents for a long time. And now, okay, share screen. Bang, there we are. Okay, oh boy. Now, couple background comments about this stuff, these exponent rules. This is just a very small part of rules of exponents. In a non-honors, just regular old kid algebra 1 class, we would spend, I don't know, a week or two. It's been a while since I taught this for like 9th graders. We'd spend a couple weeks with this. And a couple things about, sure, I'd have kids in class say, oh, I already know this. But because it's high school, I'd also teach it in a more formal way so that students, 9th graders tell you all kinds of stories, what they're going to do with their lives. Some 12th graders, whatever. I just want them to have a more formal background, because if they get the bug and go somewhere where that formal background will benefit them, at least they'll have seen it. So this is not the formal stuff. This is just, here's some quick examples, okay? Now, my cursor shows up as a kind of crosshair thing. So recall, 2 times 4 equals 8. As I've said in my other videos, I don't use simple problems because I think you're simple. I use simple problems so we can focus on the concepts and not the numbers, right? 2 times 4, that looks like that star thing on a keyboard. 2 times 4 equals 8. 8 equals 4 times 2. You couldn't believe the number of people that with an equal sign, this garbage equals that garbage and that garbage equals this garbage. It throws them off, okay? Now, what if I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? Is there a better way to write that? And that's where exponents come in really handy. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it as 2 to the 1 power, right? And what that power thing means is 2 times itself is 2 to the 1 power. Yeah. So I have 2 to the 1 times 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 2 to the 1. Now I got to count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I didn't screw it up. Now what you do is you take 2, that's actually the base in an exponential function. And you take the exponents and you add them up. 1 plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that equals 2 to the 8th. That's exponents. That's exponent notation. All right. Notice down here I have 2 to the 8 equals blank. Now I'm going to show you kind of a hella old-fashioned calculator. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64, times 2 is 128, times 2 is 256. Woo! Computer science weirdos, you'll know what that's all about. And then look at this, 2 star equals 16. What did I do? I sent the originals with somebody to get them scanned. So they do it in this fancy stuff. And I don't have the originals. And then I just saw there's a typo. That is supposed to be 2 times 8 equals 16. And I got to get these videos done anyway. Typo, 2 times 8 is 16. 2 times 8 is 16. But 2 to the 8th equals 256. Now, hopefully you looked at the derive P times 1 plus R quantity to the T equals future value FV. If you did that, this 1.1 times 1.1 times 1.1 equals 1.1 to the third power equals 100, 1.331. That's explained in detail in that particular, that last video. And then look at this next one, 1.04 to the 30th power. I didn't do this in the last video. Let's say you got 4% interest on some amount of money. Like I used $100 in my Derive example. Well, we all know life's a lot, not just, it doesn't come in $100 packages. And what if you got 4% interest and you got that interest on some amount of money for 30 years, right? You guys, nobody wants to write this out by hand. No one wants to calculate it by hand. We're going to use a calculator. And just a quick note, in 76, 77, 78, this is totally off the top of my head. The minimum wage is like $1.65, $1.85 an hour. It wasn't much. And a calculator like this TI calculator, which you can get for somewhere between $8 and $12 or $13, that was 2 separate calculators. One was an arithmetic calculator, and the other one was a scientific function calculator. They were $100 a piece. Now, when the minimum wage is $2 an hour, I'm talking about $200 worth of calculators right here at $2 an hour. I mean, you had to work 100 hours to have a calculator with all these fancy keys, like exponent keys. Nobody in high school had calculators except, well, I'm sure some did. But the rest of us had to do this stuff by hand. Anyway, end of this spiel. All right. Stop share. And stop recording. On to the next one.